Next week's presentation is by Randolph Bennett, Where Opposites Meet, Pre-Hispanic and Contemporary Mexico. Recently, Norris completed a 57-day re-immersion road journey from Ajijic to Belize. This was her husband's first taste of the 11 Mexican states they traversed, which she had traveled through 40 years ago. Her purpose was to reconnect with the energy left behind in the ancient cultures, temple sites, and multiplicity of archaeological artifacts, all of which demonstrated the sophistication of these cultures and the profound interconnection that they have with nature and the world of spirit. What especially was revealed on this journey was the legacy these people left for today's individuals and society's evolution through a wonderful mix of art, music, and culture that truly inspires the soul. Norris is from the Dominican Republic, has resided in Ajijic for 5 years, and previously lived in Mexico from 1976 to 1989. She's a visual artist, poet, author, spiritual teacher, and sociologist completing her studies at the University of Guadalajara. That's going to be an interesting talk. We look forward to you joining us and telling people about it. This week's talk, The Heart of the Matter, presented by Dr. Kelly Randolph Bennett. Easter is a celebration of unrestricted life. Intuition challenges us to consider the endless continuity and creative power of life energy, much greater than our own experience. The heart is the place for truth and timing. The intuition speaks from the heart. Health of the body depends on the authority given the heart's message of truth and timing. How strongly is your intent focused on your wholeness and personal transformation? The authority and health of the heart depends on health of the mind. Are there things you know that you would rather not hear? Health of mind depends on openness, alert listening, awareness, and choice. I don't have his bio, but I know it's great. So join me in welcoming Dr. Kelly.
Okay, great. Wait, why don't you take this? This is going to be too much. Okay. You want your... Sure, that's all right. Oh. Good morning, everyone. Like that? Is that better? Good morning, everyone. What a beautiful day again. I'm glad I'm able to enjoy it with you. So glad you're here. Thank you, Lake Chapala Society and Open Circle, for the opportunity to share thoughts after some 50 years in the practice of clinical psychology, developmental psychology, neuropsychology, brainwave optimization, EMDR, meditation, and prayer with families and businesses around the world. If you haven't already, be sure and pick up an outline for today. It will help you as we speak and save you taking notes. I know that there's a lot of ideas that people want to share and write down, and sometimes you don't have the time to do so. So that's why I put it in printed form for you ahead of time. Today I offer a free 1-hour consultation to anyone who wishes to continue talking about today's talk. So at the end of the talk, please sign on this sheet, which is up here, and I'll contact you. Well, today is Easter, as we've already been told. Pascha, Resurrection Sunday, a major festival and cultural celebration commemorating the resurrection of Jesus from the dead, as reported in the New Testament of the Bible, and which occurred on the third day of his burial following his crucifixion by the Romans, about 30 AD. It's been said that human experience is a constant climb to a better perspective. Easter definitely challenges our perspective on the power and continuity of ubiquitous life energy. I see Easter as a celebration of the endurance and power of unlimited, universal, multidimensional life energy, which is not obvious to earthlings. But remember that Easter, the resurrection of Jesus, happened here on earth. A perfect contrast for such a startling statement. What we commonly experience on earth and what we call our life is limited and cyclical, with a beginning, a middle, and an end. But the celebration of Easter writes large about a greater reality, where earth life energy is more powerful, more complete in itself, and magnificently sustainable. This suggests that life may not be as truncated as it seems. Could the Easter event be a harbinger of a potential change in earth energy? Could unlimited life come to our planet? Well, at the very least, the Easter message suggests that human life could continue beyond what we thought were its limits. Do we dare consider that the human body could be designed to function without a use-by date, where biological deterioration and physical death are no longer a requirement? Where life goes on. Could the energy of earth and life here on earth be transformed sufficiently? Are we open enough to consider such possibilities? Do we know how to listen to such remarkable ideas? I graduated from high school in 1949. That same year, a now famous psychoanalyst named Dr. Theodore Reich published a classic work on listening called The Third Ear. Dr. Kyle Arnold recently reviewed Dr. Reich's book, and she described how throughout much of American culture and from our earliest training, listening has taken on a meaning more related to heeding a warning, complying with a directive, rather than listening to attend and learn. Our early training in listening commonly involves learning to conform to the demands of authorities, which takes on an element of emotional repression. We could call the effects of such early training submissive listening. With some reinforcement, submissive listening can easily turn into not listening at all. This response avoids heeding what sounds like orders from a higher rank that we just do not want to hear. I remember watching my father turn off both of his hearing aids when my mother said something he didn't want to hear. But be encouraged, submissive listening can be replaced with what Dr. Wright called the art of meaning-oriented listening. This better way of listening can transform everyday relationships. It's empowering because it's clarifying. The preferred skill of meaning-oriented listening is intertwined with our ability to listen to ourselves. Our mind has a natural ability to decipher deeper emotional meanings conveyed by a speaker, even when they're unstated or unclear. He called this natural deep listening ability the third ear, and suggested that meaning-oriented listeners focus on their own internal responses first. This provides a more penetrating understanding of what a speaker means. Well, consider that a meaning-oriented listener is a person who takes time to listen for new possibilities, feelings, thoughts, impressions, even unexpected passing comments by others, while staying alert to avenues of communication. Submissive listeners, while listening to others, often do not slow down enough to pay attention to how they feel. They tend to respond rapidly, more like a set of tennis volleys, before letting anything sink in. So conversations become more like this set of tennis volleys, and any stray silence becomes unnerving. There's an internal anxiety associated with getting ready to say something at the next pause. Their style becomes a direct way to control the conversation and to ease their own discomfort. Well, how we first learn to listen as a child can easily become an automatic responding pattern as an adult. But we can move away from such automatic patterns, which are like being asleep to the energy around us. We can wake up, moving toward a more conscious, meaning-oriented listening choice. A long time ago, in my late 30s, while writing a doctoral dissertation at UCLA, many hours were spent at the computing center. The manager of the center was responsible for helping students use the computers. His name was Bob Skorodinsky, a pleasant, easygoing fellow with a lot of patience. I had no idea of what I was doing with those punched cards and those scary computers. So Bob needed a lot of patience with me. He had a strange characteristic. Whenever I asked one of my many questions, He would look at me directly while I spoke, and there was a 5 to 10 second pause before he replied. At first I thought he was essentially deaf. But then I realized his attention was completely focused on me. It became clear that he was internally absorbing my remarks, preparing an appropriate response to every question. He took each one seriously. Well, it took a while, but Bob's odd style taught me a valuable lesson in listening. He was someone I clearly remembered, especially his energy, to this day, some 60 years later, with a great deal of gratitude. So the next time you become threatened, confused, or just concerned with a personal interaction, do not respond immediately. First think of Bob. Take a pause. Listen to the feelings from your heart. Now you may find that doing this is initially uncomfortable, with some awkward memories, unexpected emotions, or strange associations that might arise. But pursued patiently, these unfamiliar inner experiences tend to awaken a deep understanding within and lead to freer, fuller communication. Meditation, with its mystical connections, provides a great opportunity for practicing meaning-oriented listening. It was 2017, after 15 years of daily interactive meditation involving several thousand hours of meaning-oriented listening, when my wife and I compiled and published 4 books. You'll see your handout. During these meditations, our inspiring primary connection and source was self-described as life itself, creator of everything, and God who speaks with multiple voices, whom we, for simplicity, call life. It was in these meditations that I was shown how the energy of life, the whole, complete, creative, and aware energy, is an essential element in the support of all living things, including you and me. I witnessed how, through a soul connection at the heart, every human being is lovingly, continuously, and unconsciously resupplied with life's energy 24/7. It's the very reason for the existence of everything alive. So energy resupply follows a sequence. And the first level of resupply is to our energy field, also called energy body, energy being, energy aura, which then supplies life-giving energy to our physical body, nourishing the health and function of our entire self. But it's only when this resupply energy becomes filtered, that disease can exist in the body. The outline of our physical body does not define the extent of our energy field. The energy field extends far beyond our physical shape. And in between our energy body and our physical body is where a multitude of filters can exist. They downgrade energy wholeness. This leaves the body subject to diminished energy from that radiated to it by the energy field. So these energy filters largely result from an inadequate perspective on life, which is an inadequate frame of reference or criteria from which judgments or measurements can be made, and thus a poor quality attitude. I was shown how the infinite creation is characterized by choice. And the energies of all possibilities. But for all possibilities to exist, both beneficial possibilities as well as detrimental possibilities must be available. So the energies you and I align with is a matter of awareness and choice, or attitude. Detrimental attitudes attract detrimental energy. Beneficial attitudes attract beneficial energy. As simple as that. Attitudes are bridges to the quality of energy support that we receive from the energies of all these possibilities. I learned how our beliefs, values, attitudes, and behavior all flow from our perspective on life. What we hold to be true and real is a major source of motivation for humans. Change their perspective on life, and the whole being changes. To focus on upgrading our perspective on life can improve the quality of energy wholeness or our health that our physical body experiences. The aim is to eliminate all these filters so there's an unfiltered unity between resupply and our whole being. I also learned during meditation that I learned how life is unconsciously connected with us, not at the mind, but at the heart, at the very epicenter of our being. What a surprise! So what really counts in this life is our intent, our motivation, not our every thought. I also learned that everyone can create their own true channel of communication with their higher power. Direct, free, misleading distortions. Familiarity with life's voice from within the heart of us can be an indispensable skill for all of us to develop. Consider, if life hears all of our yearnings and responds accordingly, then isn't our conscious listening for life's offerings equally as important? But you might ask, how would I know the voice of my higher power? Well, consider my experience. I received lots of assistance in meditation on opening, tuning, scanning. I experienced a uniqueness in the lucid quality of voice energy that comes. There's an identifiable, unique energy as well as a confirming feeling associated with every word, a distinctive signature which identifies life's voice. The feeling of distinctive energy makes it possible to discriminate between what I'm thinking at the time and what's being downloaded. The robust energy present contributes to an accurate, smooth, and fast recording of a message. But life uses many voices, as many as required to communicate their message. And these voices each wear a name tag, differentiating them from all others. So I learned to focus on the energy behind the ideas rather than on the ideas themselves. This way, thoughts of my own didn't mislead me. And becoming more certain about life's voice developed over time, from a knowing that emerged. And this knowing seemed to arise from the heart. And it's really more a new perspective, much more than a skill. So the heart of the matter is a matter of the heart. We can benefit enormously from staying alert to unexpected communications from the heart. Our learning to listen in every way possible, even to seemingly unrelated passing comments by others, could become surprisingly significant to us. Sorry. Example of hearing the unexpected happened to me in my late 20s. It was 1959, not long after Sputnik went into orbit. I was working as a deeply involved, well-traveled space systems project engineer. One day a coworker raised a question in passing. Why are people going in and out of your project office all the time? It's like the swinging door in an old saloon. Well, bewildered by the question and its sarcasm, I began to watch the traffic in and out of my office. I watched also what we did when visitors came in there. As expected, the engineers working on our current project came in to ask questions about their work, but soon afterward, they began discussing personal matters of concern to them. But I found that actually more of my time was spent listening to personal issues than discussing project questions. Well, while considering the implications of this surprising awareness, I was reminded how some years earlier at university, I had completed a battery of psychological tests that showed my interest to be appreciably stronger in the social sciences than in the physical sciences. Being a not that wise but serious engineering student, I shrugged off this obvious tangential revelation, saying to myself, I love math and the objectivity of the physical sciences. What do psychologists know anyway? However, as I struggled further with these revelations, I had to admit I was much more interested in the complex dynamics of people than of things. Wow. As I pondered that amazing admission, I came to another realization. Maybe I'm in the wrong profession. Now what do I do? Well, I could get even busier, become consumed with my job, try to forget the whole matter. Then family, friends, and associates could settle down. But implications of these discoveries wouldn't leave me alone. I felt compelled to know the truth, to follow the search to its end. Well, implications could mean turning my back on rich professional opportunities just unfolding, on leaving behind a valued engineering career, abandoning ongoing graduate study, even sacrificing family, personal, and business relationships. It could mean starting all over again in a brand new field of psychology. All of this in order to satisfy a differing interest. But what if the discoveries reveal a more esoteric purpose? Something to do with my reason for being on earth. Now, a serious choice must be made. Even though a decision to switch careers could lead to a complete upset and reorganization of my life for the next 12 years. In the face of that reality, just how serious am I about being truthful, being honest with myself, preserving my personal integrity? I spent countless hours asking peers and mentors alike what this strange experience means. In reflection, I do not even remember which co-worker was responsible for that fateful question. But I'm most grateful for the self-respect that was summoned, directing me to pay attention to my heart's voice and its startling result. I'm especially pleased that in the final moment I honored my heart's inner voice of truth, giving it credibility and authority. But, unfortunately, not everyone close to me was that pleased. Co-workers called me courageous, but I didn't know what they were talking about. I could not have done anything else and still admit the truth. So I learned a valuable lesson from choosing to listen to my intuition rather than ignoring those feelings. It can help me make better choices. I also realized I could choose to go against the voice, but let me caution you from my life experience. Ignoring that voice could be at your great peril. So looking back, I see that lengthy experience as responsible for the hardest, maybe the most important, and certainly the most rewarding decision of my life. It led to a fulfilling gift that leaves me standing here today with you. Now, if we are not really listening, how can we consciously receive life's offerings? Ask yourself how much open listening to your heart plays a role in your contemplations and prayers. We gain greater confidence in taking a direction or performing an action by having a deep awareness of the heart at the center of our motivations, the seat of our soul's intent, and the home of our intuition. Feeling with the heart, intuition, and thinking with the mind, intellect, though different sources of information, are together important for our wholeness and to interpret the eloquent energy that comes with heart's voice. So, it's important that our intent be held at the forefront of any action, keeping the intentions of our heart foremost in our mind. It may be a new skill, but a strong intent helps us become the very reason that motivates our behavior. it's important to know how our heart strains against false convictions to which we attribute worth and authority. The heart struggles to relate what is true for us. Accumulated false beliefs stress the heart. And when asked to help our physical heart, we would probably choose to exercise our body or change our diet. But consider also the authority we attribute to the heart, and its truth helps heal it. I've been a caregiver to my wife for the past 5 years. And through this intense experience, I've learned many things, including some things about my heart. Over time, my ability to care has broadened and deepened, but resentment also grew. Her capacity for independence declined faster than I could accommodate. So accepting the loss of so many human functions one by one was very difficult to watch helplessly. So under the cover of my awareness, resentment grew. Her continuing losses, with my inability to stall them, overloaded my heart. I could feel a heaviness in my chest. The doctor noticed a murmur. No one had noticed a murmur before. So while reflecting on the murmur, I came to realize a symptom of truth I had ignored. I was resentful. I was losing sleep over it. Feelings from my heart suggested a way to accept the reality of my situation and its simple truth. The feelings reminded me how we are intended to grow more loving. How our hearts teach us how to love, and in loving transform us. Transformation derives from loving. In loving, we become equals. No hierarchy in love. So I really want to help my love. I must become more loving, more emotionally open, more available to her. Redirect my focus away from managing and control, from fixing her, the actions of an engineer. Change to a deeper loving perspective. Well, it's taken some time, but accepting that choice made a noticeable difference. The more I accepted, the less the heaviness was there. There was a new awareness and a choice. It was a choice. And I had to come down on one side or the other. I had to learn a new way of being with her. As that decision settled and became a new intent, my heart burden lightened up. Experienced more appreciation of our relationship and the joy of our precious time together. My heart murmur diminished, and I was open more to a new way of being. So understanding the relationship between state of mind, resentment, and heart health has roots in decades of research, especially with a condition known as broken heart syndrome. It's where a stressful event involving strong reactions of grief, fear, sadness generates symptoms of a heart attack. Scientific studies have also found a more positive or more loving state of mind leads to healthier outcomes, even for those with cardiovascular disease. So, the heart of the matter is that the health of the body depends on the health of the heart. The health of the heart depends on the health of the mind. The health of the mind involves our intent with its many connections to our beliefs, values, attitudes, behaviors. It's where the authority resides which our heart can experience. So, on this beautiful Easter morning in 2023, you may have found some of these ideas to be quite new or bold, even beyond anything you could permit yourself to consider before. Maybe faulty listening to yourself prevented you from being reminded about this knowledge, except on sparse occasions. Yet deep inside, you may have known all the time that the heart of the matter is a matter of the heart. Be sure to sign up for this if you want to have a free hour. Thank you very much.
There we go. Anybody have a question? Woo, just absorbing it. Okay, here I come.
Angel, help me with a question. You're always good at this.
Well, thank you. That was a very nice talk. What I'm taking from this is it's about intent. So, my question is, would you explain intent?
But intent is like a driving force, your motivation for doing something in your mind that's very important. In fact, it doesn't have to be very important at all. At times our intent can be go to the grocery store. But I'm talking about the kind of intent that drives our life and directs us. And that strong intent is the authority the heart needs to focus on truth. And the heart is the source of truth and timing, the intuition, basically. And it can only provide truth to us if we're listening. If we aren't listening, the heart starts to shut down. It says, well, I guess he doesn't care. Doesn't matter. So our intent toward truth and timing in our life, we want nothing but truth. We want to know what's real. That's it. That is the authority the heart needs to give us that information that we need that guides our life. So intent, in that sense, has to do with a question, how much do you want truth and reality to direct your life?
Very much for that. I enjoyed it a lot. My question is a little bit off to the side, but in looking at your age now, the stage of your life, we're looking at Easter, you're looking at different stages of life, beginning, middle, end. I'm curious to know your perspective on afterlife and perhaps reports from people who have been dead and started to die and come back with reports of what they experienced. Thank you.
Wow, that's really a great question. It's one that takes a lot of time. So I suggest you sign up and come and talk to me. We can talk kind of open-ended on that question. But, I'm struck, I'll mention one thing that really struck me. When the originator of the iPhone, Steve Jobs, died, somebody commented, I think it was his wife, but his last comments were something that struck me. And they were, wow. wow. Oh, wow. And that's kind of my view.
Thank you very, very much for this very inspiring speech, sir. And I am glad to see that this is, this is new, but this is very old. I have been studying about the heart coherence. And I just would like to ask you, where would you place the soul? Thank you.
Soul, I understand, has its attachments to the heart. The soul, in answer to your question, is apparently the place where our best intent, our highest intent, our greatest intent, our most important intent is located. So if one wants to find intent in their life, one place to look is the soul, as I understand it. And in the soul, it will guide us, and that guides us through the heart, again, the same way the intuition does, through the heart. So we just need to listen and ask for more information about my intent. What is my real, basic, bottom line intent in life?
Is that it? We good?
Okay.
Oh, wait, we got, well, I can only give,
Dr. Randolph, I'm just wondering, in light of your challenging and heartwarming talk, what is your opinion on whether there's any need for any moral, ethical, spiritual guidance beyond our heart, our deepest intuition? There's a lot of structures in the world that are supposedly supportive and in some cases have turned out to be misleading, to put it mildly. And I'm just wondering what you believe, whether you believe the heart is where the wisdom is as well.
Okay. As I understand it, the heart is where our Creator is attached and where this energy comes to us to keep us going. The heart, see what else I can say that might be helpful in that regard. The truth of the heart. I talked about the truth of the heart. You mentioned the circumstances around us. I understand there are two realities. There's what is called a local reality, which you see on television when you watch the news. Things going on around you in this life. And there's a universal reality, which is everything else in terms of the fullness of life and all the rest, all the spiritual experiences that we have. And I'm told that the universal reality is the place to spend our time, not the local reality. We're here and we have to be here for reasons each of you have. But the two realities help us know where to look for truth. So if we want to know where the truth is, it's in the universal reality, not in the local reality. That's why truth has to come to us rather than our running across it as we do our daily lives. Two different realities. And the universal reality is the place where we go when we meditate, or pray, or worship. Although I'm told that worship wasn't intended. Loving was intended. Yes.
I wish to
really express my gratitude, my heartfelt gratitude, because so little is actually known about living in the heart. And what I experienced also in meditation, and this is my personal experience, that going in is the way to go. And I have meditated in India for years, going up, go up, go up, and be non-local. When I have recently discovered, to my surprise, that going in is more important than going up. And that inside is very deep. It's not a shallow biological short journey. In fact, it opens to a bigger world than I have experienced as a non-local experience. So I want to say that my authority is coming from the heart, and in the heart is one piece. The heart, love energy, love, the basic energy of all creation, is one piece, and there's no pieces. There is one piece, and the important thing is that everybody is inside of this one heart. Everybody is in love with each other. And there is, in love, there's no room for argument or discord. So I appreciate what you're saying so much. I bow to you with respect and appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Okay, that's it, actually. Our time's up. Anybody who wants to speak to him, he will be standing right here. Please come up and sign your name for an hour free. You are so generous. Thank you so much. Happy Easter, everybody.